and sort of, hard to believe tweet the president has ever come up with.
Really is. A new poll shows the majority of Republicans think Donald Trump is a better president than the president who ended the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln. The Economist YouGov poll shows 47% of Republicans think Abraham Lincoln is the better president. When compared to Trump, 53% picked the sitting president. In fact, Republicans in this poll favor President Trump over every Republican president in the poll except Ronald Reagan. Every time we mention Reagan, we're actually contractually obligated to bring in best-selling author, historian, and renowned Reagan biographer Craig Shirley. His new book is entitled Mary Ball Washington, The Untold Story of George Washington's Mother, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But, Joe, do you want to get Craig's readout on these polls?
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I cannot wait to get Craig's readout on a poll that would say a man who sends love letters to Kim Jong-un and who humiliates himself in Helsinki with Vladimir Putin is somehow a greater president, well, not only than Abraham Lincoln, but every other Republican president than Ronald Reagan. Craig, what does that say about the biggest spending Republican ever being at the top of that list? Is small government conservatism dead once and for all?
Well, I wish you hadn't asked me that. But let me say this, is that as a political observer, I'm intrigued. As a historian, I'm appalled. The only thing I can say is I would question the methodology of that poll and go back and look at the sample size or where they drew the sample of or how they asked the question. I am heartened, obviously, by the fact that Reagan came out on top, but even then, I question the veracity of the poll, to be quite honest. It's a fun talking point, but I'm not sure that it's really factual.
Well, let us hope that the methodology was way, way off. We shall see. Okay, so let's talk about Mary Ball Washington, and yeah. There's an intriguing line out of it that you've said that she's either described as Mother Teresa or Mommy Dearest. Explain. Yes. The mother of the father of this country.
Let me say first, I think that a lot of people like this book. I think a lot of women would like this book. This was a tough woman in a century that was very tough on women. In the 1700s, is that women obviously didn't have the vote. They couldn't even legally own property. It was simply their job to take property from their husband when their husband passed away and then pass it on to their oldest son. So, is that historians have gone back and forth on Mary Ball. Not that there's ever been really a definitive book about her, but where she showed up in the narrative of books about George Washington, about the era, is that for a time until the Civil War, she was portrayed as kind of like, as Mother Teresa or Mary, the Mother of Christ, or something like that. But after the Civil War, it took a very sharp turn, and she became, Joan Crawford, whereas before she was kind of June Cleaver. And I wanted to bring her back to center and do a really factual account of her life and understand how it is that she was able to raise. At the time, but George III himself said this is the greatest man in the history of the world because he surrendered power after he defeated the British Empire. So who creates this man? This was, she had 6 children over 9 years. Her husband died when George was only 11. He was the oldest son. She was a survivor, and she was tough, and she was cantankerous, and she was a fighter. Was she controversial? Yes, but she had to be.
I think often as parents and as our kids get older, you realize you have to be tough. And,
yes.
And the things that were so shocking to you, like my dad was stingy, and now I get it, because you actually learn the value of what you do. But she's described, you describe her as stingy, shrewish, and selfish, but strong.
Well, yeah, I did, but that was adapting the language of other writers. Right. Is that, George was famously, you look at how meticulous he was in his diaries to himself and his letters about how he was meticulous about watching his pennies and the dollars and cents. And he got that from her because she lived on an allowance. She did, she got some salary from the farm, but it was mostly agriculture, not actual money. And so she had to be stingy to make ends meet, and she passed that along to him, who was equally careful with the dollar. But she also passed along a love of reading, a love of agriculture, a love of the land. There's one thing that, you know, she was not a revolutionary. She kind of, she came out of an era which was, she grew up under British rule. She believed in the British royalty. So when her son leads the revolution, she's kind of stymied because she's at a point in her life where she's set and believing in the divine right of King George II and King George III. So even though her son is leading the revolution, is that she's never really overtly supportive of him. Now, she's never against him either, but, you know, it was tough for her to break out of what she had grown to know and understand for the first 50 years of her life.
Hey, Craig, it's Jonathan Lemire. Let me follow up on that point. You write that after the Revolutionary War, and George Washington becomes the first president of the United States, that his mother, quote, she did not go to his inauguration in New York, and there's no evidence that she acknowledged his accomplishments or was proud of him. So my first question is, what's a guy got to do? But my second question is, does that sort of indicate, you know, the heart of their relationship, that he never was quite enough to sort of make her proud, never fully had her support?
I think, Jonathan, I think it's more a representation of the era than it is their personal relationship, is that it was kind of expected, especially among the upper classes, is that you were to succeed. And even if you do, you know, you're elected unanimously the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, you're elected unanimously to preside over the Constitutional Convention, you're elected unanimously President of the United States, and again, elected unanimously the second term as president, is that Mary kind of expected George to do these things. Now, there's no doubt that she invested most of her time and effort and energy into him to the exclusion of the other children. The other children were kind of ignored, except for Betty, who was a neighbor, and her husband Fielding was very supportive of Mary as well. But she invested most of her energy, but he was expected to survive or to succeed, and when he did, she took it in stride.
All right, fascinating. The new book is Mary Ball Washington, The Untold Story of George Washington's Mother. Craig Shirley, thank you so much. And Joe,
Thank you, Craig.
Joe, you have 30
Thank you,
seconds,
Joe.
and only 30 seconds for final thoughts this morning.
Well, it's pretty simple. We're starting a very important week in the impeachment proceedings.